Okay, so I'm going to say something really controversial now. There is absolutely no way for a salesperson to create urgency for someone to buy unless...
Welcome to Sales Secrets with Brandon Bernanson. On the daily, Brandon shares new secrets to help maximize sales and make more money today. Never miss a show by hitting the subscribe button now.
Okay, so I'm going to say something really controversial now. There is absolutely no way for a salesperson to create urgency for someone to buy unless they have drastically reduced the price and it's going to change, right? And then I'm like, well, if I want it at that price, I better hurry up and get it. That's urgency. Or it's going away and you can never get it again. Because think about it. That is the only way a salesperson could create urgency. And I don't recommend either of those. Well, first of all, your stuff isn't going away. You're continuing to sell it. And secondly, I don't believe in reducing the price. The value is the value, right? Yep. And you pay this price for that value. And I just get so sick at the end of every month when I see salespeople making calls because their CEO told them, get on the phone and tell them we'll lower the price if they close before the end of the month. Please don't do that. It's just such garbage. And not only that, now you've just trained me to expect you to lower the price so that we can close the deal. And next year, I want that same price. I'm not going up. Are you kidding me? You gave it to me once. I want it again. Yeah. So you're just digging a hole for yourself. You cannot create urgency, but here is what you can do. Back to the research. For each of the people involved in the buying decision, and you and I both know there are many in a complex sale. It can be from 8 to 12 in a complex sale, according to Gartner and some other resources, right?
Yeah.
So if I have to deal with each one of these people and understand them, get to know them, find out what is going to make them win, find out what business result they really are looking for, find out how they feel about my solution, why they might or might not do what they're going to do, right? All of those things. I have to do my homework first. I've got to do the research. And if I am not a good researcher, I am not going to come up with a valid business reason for them to talk to me and work with me. Because I got nothing other than here's my product and here's what it does. And even if I can talk about results a little bit, I am still all about me, my product, my service. I got to dig into you, Brandon. What's making you tick? What do you need to happen that is not happening now? And can I impact that or not? If not, I should be the first one telling you, Brandon, I can't fix that. Let me see if I can help you find someone who can, right? Or you know what? I'm not the best solution for you right now. Maybe you should look at this. But salespeople can't do that because they have pressure on them to close deals. So they're going to push a buyer to buy it, whether it's the best solution for them or not. So we got to back off of all of that and go look at the bigger picture now. We cannot create urgency, but we can understand what's happening at an organization, what's happening with each individual person, and figure out if we can help fix that faster. And if they want it fixed faster, we can help them by getting the deal closed. Great. This is what you want. You said you needed it. Here's how it's going to work. Here's the timeline that's going to happen. And then we're going to sign these papers and get you up and running in no time so that your problem is fixed or your challenge goes away or your growth becomes easier.
This show is sponsored by Seamless.ai, the world's best sales leads. Get direct dials, emails, and cell phones for anyone in seconds. Request an invite to join for free at Seamless.ai. That's Seamless.ai.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Sales Secrets, where the world's best sales experts share their secrets to sales success. And I'm thrilled, honored, and grateful to have with me today, Alice Heiman. Alice is the current founder, sales energizer, and speaker at her own company. She runs a management consulting firm dedicated to helping companies achieve rapid and exceptional sales growth. She's also an advisor for Proactivate, a speaker for Vistage Worldwide, co-founder and CRO at Trade Show Makeover, which, by the way, I need. All the sales teams out there probably need a makeover. And she's also an entrepreneurship instructor, which totally appreciate, for the College of Business at the University of Nevada. She's been recognized as one of Forbes' leading experts in complex sales with over 24 years of experience. As you can tell, Alice is a guru and an expert. Alice, thank you for joining us today.
Oh, I'm super excited to be here because as we were saying earlier, you and I have been connected for such a long time and interacting online, and I'm really enjoying that. But we've never had a chance to just like chat like this. So this is going to be awesome.
I feel like we've done deals, we've done events, we've done.
We have
like intros, books, yet we've never talked before. That's like the crazy power of social media, which is wild.
It is. It's so true. My gosh.
Word on the street is you're like the trade show guru. Like, you know how to generate millions of dollars in trade show money. But I know that's not like your only business. So
no, it's sort of a sideline that just popped up out of complete necessity, so it's crazy how that happens.
Why don't you tell the audience, like, why don't you give us a quick background on, your sales experience, just for the audience, so they know kind of who you are?
Yeah. So first, I'm just going to say I look pretty good for 108 years old, don't I? So sometimes when I start telling people what my background is, they're like, how have you done all that in your life? But so the interesting thing is I didn't start out in sales, probably like many people, but I started as an elementary school teacher and a special education teacher. And I was actually a reading specialist for many years. So I have a degree in education, an undergraduate degree. And then my master's is not an MBA in business. It's a master's in education that gave me a reading credential to help children learn to read. So it's always pretty funny when I tell people I've never taken a business class. I don't have any degrees in business, and I don't have, any real, it just like happened, right? So I
teachers are some of the best salespeople, though, because they could like challenge, coach, train, which is what everyone needs. Where am I at today? Where am I trying to go?
Yes, it's so true. So that is something that I've brought in to my career. Now I've been in business much longer than I was a teacher. I was only a teacher for about 13 years, but all of those people skills that I needed and all of those skills to nurture behavior change are so helpful when I'm working with CEOs and sales leaders and sales teams, because I understand where you are now, where you need to go, and what is going to be the best way to get you there. And that's an important skill that I brought in. A lot of people don't get the people side of business in college, especially if they're a business major. So yeah. So anyway, after that, I got catapulted into business because, as some of you know, my dad, Steve Heiman, and his partner, Bob Miller, started Miller Heiman, right? So it's like, okay, yes, it's true. People go, are you like the Alice Heiman of like Miller Heiman? And the answer is yes, I am. So I didn't start that company, though. I can't take any credit for the audience.
What is that type of company? I know what it is.
Okay. So Miller Heiman is the premier sales training company. It's now called the Miller Heiman Group. My dad sold that company in 1998, but they teach you how to position yourself better to close a deal. That's strategic selling. So you figure out what your position is and how to improve it. And then with conceptual selling, they teach you how to have a really great sales conversation with the key people in a complex deal and get the right questions asked, get the right information shared, and move the deal forward. So those are the two main things that they do. And thousands and thousands and thousands of people have been trained in those programs. And
so when he started it, were you a kid, or was it going on for a while? Like, what was your childhood like with your father being an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So, it's so funny. My dad's 87, and I don't think he'd call himself an entrepreneur. In fact, I think I asked him once, I said, do you feel like you're an entrepreneur? He's like, no. But so what it was really is when I was a kid growing up, he was selling and he sold for a lot of different organizations, became the vice president of sales. The last job he had before he started the company was the vice president of sales for North American Valence, which was a humongous sales team, right? So I just knew he was in sales and he sold a lot of different things over the time that when I was a kid. When I was really young, about 3, that's when he met Bob Miller, who eventually became his partner. And they were working at a company called Kepner Triegel. It was some sort of a consulting company, but I don't even remember. I was so young. But anyway, just growing up knowing he was in sales, but never thinking I would go into sales or never even thinking about a career in business at all in any way whatsoever. But I am very entrepreneurial and I got it from him. And his father was an entrepreneur as well, my granddad. So I'm just a starter of things. I'm a catalyst. I like to light things on fire and see what happens. So we'll have a lot of fun. But yeah, after I taught for a while, and even while I was teaching, my dad was always asking me, can you do a project? Can you do, so I was always working on the business, even though I wasn't in it. Right. Yep. Right. And then he bought Bob Miller out in like 1989. And then he asked me to work more and more things. And then he kept asking me to come work for him. And I kept saying, Dad, I'm a teacher. I'm like, I'm not in business. I don't know how to be in business. And eventually I just gave up and I said, okay, I'll come work for you. So that was in 1994. They had moved the business. It started in San Francisco on Union and Steiner. And they had moved it to Berkeley to grow and have more space. And then when my dad bought Bob Miller out, they moved it again and decided, let's get out of California just because of the tax reasons. So they moved over just a little bit to Nevada. And so here, that's why I'm here in Reno, near Lake Tahoe at 5,300 feet in the beautiful Sierra Nevada mountain range. And so I worked for Miller Heiman for a couple of years and learned I revamped their curriculum, trained their trainers, eventually became the account manager for some of their largest accounts, Coca-Cola, Hewlett-Packard, AT&T, Dow Chemical, you name it. I had some of the largest companies in the world, in my 30s, didn't know, I went from kindergarten to selling. So it was crazy.
Now, the cool part though is with the training and the curriculum, like as a teacher, I feel like it's perfect.
It was perfect.
We have courses for our users on how to know how to use this software. It's like, I have to study what teachers do to then make sure I'm doing it right. So it sounds like your background in teaching just melded great to do consulting.
Yeah, it totally did. And, I left Miller Heiman. I knew they were going to sell the company. And I left. I wasn't really actually full-time there all that long, about 3 years. And I started my own company. I was still contracting with Miller Heiman to do some things, but it was the .com time. And most of you out there are too young to remember .com, right? But Brandon, maybe you do. You were young.
I think I was in grade school, but
yeah. I told you I was 108.
It was wild. Like it was wild. Yeah, I remember
it was a wild ride.
The news talking about all these crazy companies, and they would like just start and then get 100 million in funding, and you'd be like, "What? That doesn't make any sense."
And it didn't make any sense, and most of them went out of business. So they say the .coms bombed. That's what we said at the end of the .com era. But that was the first time, for those of you who don't know, that was the first time that companies had a huge presence online. The internet was really starting to pop. It was a very exciting time. And all of the senior leaders from the companies that I was working with, these huge companies, GE Capital, Fidelity Investments, they were all leaving and going to these .coms to start up. Well, the funniest thing, right, is you come from a great big corporate structure where you have all this help. You have a marketing team, you have sales leaders, you have salespeople, you have sales assistants, all this stuff. And you go to a startup. What do you got?
Nothing.
And so they're like calling me.
Money,
I don't, hey,
probably have money, but no resources to support it. Right.
Right. So you've got money and this is the big thing. So they throw money at these .coms, right? And they get these beautiful luxury buildings and all this stuff and furnish them and everything. And then they'd be like, okay, we need to sell something. And they had no idea what to do. So I didn't really either, but they asked me and I said, okay, I'll help you start up a sales team from scratch. So I got really good at doing that. building sales
Now,
teams from scratch.
did you leave your company, your parents' company, Miller Heiman Group, purposely to consult these startups, or did it like fall in your lap?
Yeah, so I'm an accidental entrepreneur for sure. I mean, I did have a business while I was still teaching. So, I mean, but again, that was accidental. Like I just started it. There was a need and I filled it. I just was like, oh, let's just do this. But,
sure about that. I feel like most people would lie. Oh no, I planned it and then I went after it.
Oh God, no.
It just happened accidentally, and that's just how it worked, which I love.
And I don't recommend that, by the way. I think a business plan is a good thing. I'm not saying to do what I did. I'm just telling you that's what I did, right? So yeah, I flew the coop because I knew they were selling and I just contracted back with them. But then like this .com thing just swept me away. These small companies who had all this money and needed to start up a sales team from scratch, or, they just went out and hired a bunch of salespeople with no thought about it at all. And then they'd call me and they'd be like, we got all these salespeople sitting in these chairs, these brand new chairs. I'll never forget it. One of the companies that I worked with in San Francisco, they had gone out and spent a fortune on Herman Miller Aeron chairs.
That stuff's expensive too, like thousands of dollars per chair, thousands of dollars per desk. I used to do all the digital marketing for that.
Yeah.
It's crazy,
right? So here we are, and all these people sitting in the chairs. But the funniest thing about it, little sideline, is they bought all the same size. And so there was some, petite people, work and their feet didn't hit the ground. And I'm like, you bought all these chairs and you just bought the same size. It was really funny. Anyway, it was causing ergonomic problems, as you can imagine. And salespeople have to be on the phone and on their computer all day long, right? So it's not good to have ergonomic problems because it makes your shoulders and your wrists and everything else hurt. And then you're grumpy. You don't want a grumpy salesperson. Grumpy salespeople, not good, right?
Not good ever.
Anyway, wow. So I just got swept into it, Brendan. I didn't plan it. And then when the .coms bombed, I loved working with small companies so much, but I went to work with more mature companies. So they were private equity backed instead of venture backed. They had a few years under their belt, so it was a little calmer and we could make a little more progress.
Got it. Yeah. So less chaos, a little bit more proven, scalable model. What size, when you left like the VC startups to the PE companies, what was the revenue differential? Was it like the VC startups was 0 to what million? And then what were the PE startups from?
Yeah, they were usually around 0 to maybe 3-5 million. And then I definitely went to 5 million and up. And now really my main focus is like 10 to 100 million. They're owner-led, founder-led, and private equity backed, and they are needing that rapid exponential growth. So they want to double in 2 to 3 years, and they just have to scale their organization. And it's like deer in the headlights, how do we do this right so we don't, make a mess of it? And also, how do we get the valuation of our company really high by getting our sales up, right? And doing it properly. So the profitability is still there and get that, scaling going so that the investors are super happy and we can all exit happily when we want to.
That's what those guys, the PE guys want to get a 3 to 5x return.
Right.
The VC guys want a 10 to 20x return.
Yeah, they're nuts. And their model, they throw money at 10 and hopefully 2 will happen, maybe 1. And that does work for them sometimes.
The problem is when it goes bad, then they bail.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of leaves the other 9 or 5 or whatever that may not be growing as fast to the sidelines, which
it's messy. It's definitely messy. And it's a scary thing.
Yeah. You do the PE thing. Where are we at? So where are we at taking us up to today now?
Yeah. So these days I focus my time with CEOs who are, like I said, they're still running their company, they're PE backed, private equity backed. They usually have a sales team and at least one sales leader in place. And they're just either at a plateau and they can't figure out how to get past it, or they're having a lot of pressure on them from investors to grow their sales. They're hiring a lot of people like your company. They're trying to hire a lot of people at one time so they can scale more quickly. And so the CEO really needs someone who understands the strategy of sales and how it fits into the strategy for the growth of their entire business, how sales will increase their valuation if they do it properly, how it can be more highly profitable for them. And those are the kinds of things I look at with them and help them figure out so that they're not guessing or relying on people who maybe don't really know. Sometimes their sales leaders are good sales leaders, but they don't understand the strategy that's needed really to really take it to the next level. So I'm hanging out with CEOs like that, having a blast doing it. I'm mentoring a lot of companies. I'm teaching sales in the entrepreneurship minor at the University of Nevada.
I love that. Yeah. I was part of a sales program in my college, and it was a game changer. It was awesome.
Yeah, so absolutely.
I appreciate you doing that. That's amazing. Okay. So you get to help hyper scale all these different startups and fast growing companies. Me, our audience, everyone tuning in, we're a lot of us are in that boat. So the whole point of this show is like, I want to know, everyone wants to know, what is your number one top sales secret? If we wanted to double, triple, 10x, 20x, go from 0 to 100, 10 million, 10 million to 100 million, 100 million to IPO. In your opinion, Alice, if you had to go back in time to when you first started out or whatever, right? Any of these scenarios, what would be your number one top sales secret?
Yeah. So I guess my number one top sales secret is sales is not hard. It should be easier.
Okay. Sales is not hard. What do you mean?
Well, so many times I hear salespeople saying it's a grind. You've got to, fight. You got to work 18 hours a day. I heard you talking about that on one of your previous podcasts. I get up earlier than the other salespeople, and I work harder and I work longer, and it's a grind, right? And I think that that's a myth. And I don't feel like that is the way it should be. I feel like salespeople could work much smarter and get so much more done. But our companies, our leadership, our structure makes sales hard for us instead of making it easier. And so when I look at these organizations, I'm like, you are making sales so hard. Why do you do that? Right. And part of that is the strategy isn't right. The leadership doesn't know how to coach or support salespeople properly. The CEO doesn't know how to support the sales leaders properly. Marketing and sales don't know how to work together. So there's a lot of things that fall into that. But I think there's actually two keys for salespeople, right? So regardless of what your sales organization does for you or does not do, whatever the larger organization is or isn't doing, you can make sales easier yourself, right? By doing a couple of things. And I think this is a secret, but it shouldn't be. And I know it's not for you and me, but building your network is absolutely critical to making sales easier. So why is sales easy for me? And why is it easy for the sales teams I work with? Because I get them to build their network of people that know, like, and trust them, of people that they want to get to know and they spend time getting to know, and they're not just selling to them. So everybody that you meet on LinkedIn or at a trade show or anywhere is not somebody you're going to sell to. You're going to nurture a relationship and see what blossoms. And I have such a vast network that I can get any resources I need. If I need an employee, if I need financing, if I need new clients, I call someone I know to get those. I don't have to do cold outreach. Now, I'm not against cold outreach. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those do not cold call people. I think that at some companies, you need volume. So volume requires you to cold outreach, although I still feel like we do such a poor job. And I blame it on the leaders of the companies. I blame it on the CEOs. They are allowing their sales organizations to train their salespeople to do really poor cold outreach. It's just terrible. I mean, that's not the salesperson's problem. They're being trained to do that, and they're being paid to do that. More emails, more cold calls, more. How about the better button, people? Stop pushing the more button. Let's start pushing that better button. Okay. So if you build your network from the time you're in college, start then and think about all the people who might help you later in your life. They might help you get resources. They might introduce you to somebody. They might help you hire people, find the right people. They might provide the financing for your company. Build that network, and don't just build it, nurture it. And that's what I have done my entire life. And so now I have people I can call on in every realm. And I think salespeople just don't do it. They get so busy, especially with the cold outreach. Hit that number of cold calls, hit that number of cold emails. Carve out a little piece of your day every single day to talk to the people you already know. Find out what they're doing. How can you help them? Endear them so that when you do need something, they'll help you. And you stay top of mind. So when they know someone who can use what you sell, they're going to direct them to you. But when you're out of sight, out of mind, you don't get that kind of love, that helps you sell. So I think that networking piece is just so crucial, and so many people are missing it. They're just en masse trying to sell to everyone, and it's just really not working for most people.
Wow. Yeah. So the chapter of this sales secret is sales is not hard. Step one, you have to grow your network. And then step two, you got to use the better button versus more button, right?
Right. So you grow that network, nurture that network, and stop doing more and start doing better, right? So the other
way to grow the network, like in your opinion, because I could see a lot of people tuning in like, okay, Alice says grow my network, but like, what the hell? How do I, what does that mean? How do I start?
Yeah, let me give you some steps to that. So, I see a lot of people on LinkedIn. You and I are on there all the time, right? But you go to a lot of profiles and all they have is their picture and like a few little words, no banner, nothing interesting, nothing to get my attention, nothing to make me want to be friends with you. It's just like blah. Okay. So we can't have blah. That's no good. We need to think about LinkedIn as a networking event or a trade show. So if you were at a trade show booth, right, you would dress your best, just like we do to get on video, right? You dress your best. I wear something interesting all the time when I'm out in public, which I haven't been for a year, but before that, I wear something interesting. So people will go, oh my gosh, I love that necklace. It's a conversation starter, right? I dress up in the booth, right? So it attracts people, right? They want to come talk to somebody who looks happy and who has bright colors on and is having conversations. So on LinkedIn, you have to do the same thing, right? If you're at a networking event, you're at a coffee shop, anywhere that you might be at a trade show, you want to attract people to you so they'll have conversations. But then you get on LinkedIn and it's like you are standing in the corner of the room facing the wall. What? So LinkedIn is the key to building and nurturing your network these days. So build it first. One, get your profile looking like someone who is approachable, who people want to talk to, who people want to be friends with. And then two, connect to all the people that you actually really, really know. And then start connecting to people who are like you. Because you think, well, why would I connect to a bunch of other salespeople? Well, because they know people. They may sell to the same people you do, but not the same product. So they could make introductions, right? And you just broaden your sphere by thinking strategically about who you should be connected to. Be connected to thought leaders like me and Brandon, right? Because we know a lot of people and perhaps we would introduce you. So think more strategically about how you're going to build and nurture your network. Then with LinkedIn and email and phone and text, stay in touch with the people. So build, a list of the key people you really need to stay in touch with, and then make sure you do it. Now we have tons of great tools that we use to bombard people we don't know with messaging. We can use those same tools to keep in touch with people we do know. So use those fancy tools, make your list of people who you know and love, and why not stay in touch with them too? Because they're more likely to introduce you or give you a lead than anyone else. So I think those are just critical things. If you're going to build your network, you've got to use the tools that are free to you, LinkedIn, and then use the tools your company provided to you to help you stay in touch with all of these people who have such powerful relationships with you that you can leverage.
Yep. And Seamless is free too. So anyone tuning in, make sure you jump on that. Give people
That's right.
Cell phones, use LinkedIn, use all these tools. The whole point is leverage all the tech to grow your network and connect opportunity. And I love that. And then when you talk about, Alice, the better button, right? Like, because I get 1 million LinkedIn messages a day that are all typically the pitch. It's like the connect pitch. I like to call it. You probably do as well.
All day long.
How do I hit the better button versus the more button, in your opinion?
Well, in any communication you have, right? In any communication you have, it has to be about the other person. Right. And even just think about your family too. If you want somebody to listen to you, what do you have to do first? You got to listen to them first. You got to be about them. You got to know about them. So I think a second secret that I have besides the network thing, and again, shouldn't be a secret, is I am an amazing researcher. Okay.
I mean, from like your teaching background, or
I don't know. I think I'm just a curious person. I love to read. I love to dig in and research. I can just get lost in research, right? I love to research, but I dig up things about companies that people are like, how did you find that? But it's like the key to me getting in the door. Or I do it for my clients all the time. One of the sales reps that I work with might be, trying to break into this company. I'm like, well, what do you got? Give me, what's the name of it? Okay. Who do you know? And I start researching and I get a nugget and I give it to them. And the next thing I know, they're in the door.
Wow.
So
are you looking at like 10Ks? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I look at a lot of things. So I have this dossier that fill out on these big companies. Remember, I don't sell to big companies anymore. So I have my fun selling to big companies through the sales teams that I work with. Cool. Right.
Yeah.
But
I did those dossiers at selling for IBM. It was like 25 pages.
Sometimes they can be, but I've got it down to a science where if anybody wants my dossier, I'll share it. Just send me a message on LinkedIn. Tell me you saw me with Brandon and ask for that dossier. And so you have to fill in a few things, but what salespeople neglect to do is look at the bigger picture. They look at, I sell this thing to these types of people and they're going to buy it for these reasons. Well, there's other factors. As we know, in every company, while you're trying to make a sale, there are many other projects going around and things that are impacting the senior leadership and the entire company. And they have different focuses at different times. So if you know what their focus is for the year, if you know the president's message from that year, if you're watching their LinkedIn posts and seeing if they're posting about sustainability or they're really posting about diversity, equity, and inclusion, or something specific, or they're hiring. Now, let's say you sell something that has nothing to do with hiring. It doesn't matter. When a company's hiring, their focus is on that. Brandon, you are hiring a lot of people. So you don't have a lot of bandwidth to have a lot of other projects going when you're hiring that many people at one time.
Yeah, it's just all about headcount and scaling, making sure that the people, the systems, the processes are there to maximize growth.
Right. Sure. And so if I'm selling to you right now, I'm going to say, look, I know the kind of pressure you're under to get that many people hired that quickly and maintain your culture.
Yep.
So within that, here's how my project, the thing that I want your company to do that I think would be great for them, how it's going to help you continue to keep your focus on hiring great people. That's what you care about. Not, is it going to take resources from the team that's trying to hire? Is it going to take resources from the people who are trying to sell? Because I think the biggest reason we have no decision today is because companies are strapped for resources. And they think, if I buy what you sell, I have got to apply a team of people to that to get it deployed. And I don't have those resources right now because I just took these people and put them over here to focus on this other thing.
Sales objection, no decision.
Right.
Is that the biggest sales objection, you think?
It is right now. There's no doubt about it.
Just with COVID or with everything?
I think with everything in a complex sale, people are just really still tentative about making decisions. Coming out of COVID, I think is part of it. Budgetary, just
so easy to just
complexity.
Just to do nothing. It's so easy for people to do nothing.
So much easier, right?
And then
I live with the pain I have.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. So when you're growing your network, doing better, do you have any secrets that you could share about how you create the urgency or the necessity to not stay complacent, not just move forward with no decision or uninterested, and actually move on whatever you're offering?
Okay, so I'm going to say something really controversial now. There is absolutely no way for a salesperson to create urgency for someone to buy unless they have drastically reduced the price and it's going to change, right? And then I'm like, well, if I want it at that price, I better hurry up and get it. That's urgency. Or it's going away and you can never get it again. Because think about it. That is the only way a salesperson could create urgency. And I don't recommend either of those. Well, first of all, your stuff isn't going away. You're continuing to sell it. And secondly, I don't believe in reducing the price. The value is the value, right? Yep. And you pay this price for that value. And I just get so sick at the end of every month when I see salespeople making calls because their CEO told them, get on the phone and tell them we'll lower the price if they close before the end of the month. Please don't do that. It's just such garbage. And not only that, now you've just trained me to expect you to lower the price so that we can close the deal. And next year, I want that same price. I'm not going up. Are you kidding me? You gave it to me once. I want it again. Yeah. So you're just digging a hole for yourself. You cannot create urgency, but here is what you can do. Back to the research. For each of the people involved in the buying decision, and you and I both know there are many in a complex sale. It can be from 8 to 12 in a complex sale, according to Gartner and some other resources, right?
Yeah.
So if I have to deal with each one of these people and understand them, get to know them, find out what is going to make them win, find out what business result they really are looking for, find out how they feel about my solution, why they might or might not do what they're going to do, right? All of those things, I have to do my homework first. I've got to do the research. And if I am not a good researcher, I am not going to come up with a valid business reason for them to talk to me and work with me. Because I got nothing other than here's my product and here's what it does. And even if I can talk about results a little bit, I am still all about me, my product, my service. I got to dig into you, Brandon. What's making you tick? What do you need to happen that is not happening now? And can I impact that or not? If not, I should be the first one telling you, Brandon, I can't fix that. Let me see if I can help you find someone who can, right? Or you know what? I'm not the best solution for you right now. Maybe you should look at this. But salespeople can't do that because they have pressure on them to close deals. So they're going to push a buyer to buy it, whether it's the best solution for them or not. So we got to back off of all of that and go look at the bigger picture now. We cannot create urgency, but we can understand what's happening at an organization, what's happening with each individual person, and figure out if we can help fix that faster. And if they want it fixed faster, we can help them by getting the deal closed. Great. This is what you want. You said you needed it. Here's how it's going to work. Here's the timeline that's going to happen. And then we're going to sign these papers and get you up and running in no time so that your problem is fixed or your challenge goes away or your growth becomes easier.
I love it. I love it. So that's amazing. Sales is not hard.
Right.
Alice Heiman, thank you so much for your top sales secrets. So what I want to do is I want to go into rapid fire Q&A.
All right.
So rapid fire Q&A. First question. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, awesome. This is coming in from the audience. Give me 1 second. I want to pull up what they had to ask. Number one, favorite not sales book, favorite book.
Favorite book. Oh,
what is your favorite book?
I have so many books and I love books so much. That is such a hard question for me, but I am going to say this, and it comes from my time teaching at the university. I think my favorite business book is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I have read it. I don't know. I read it every year because my students have to read it and I read it with them and we talk about it, and everything in there. And I don't know, what's that book? It's more than 30 years old. It might be 60 years old, but everything in it is just so true about people and it can be applied immediately.
So many people, it's crazy how many people I've interviewed that actually say the same thing, how to win friends and influence
people. There's so many great books out there. Holy cow. I mean, I have stacks of them behind me and, I'm constantly mentioning books, but that's a winner for every salesperson. I think that's just a must read.
How to Win Friends, Influence People by Dale Carnegie. What's your favorite habit?
Okay. My favorite habit
can be anything.
Every single morning when I get up, I do a few things, some yoga, and then I go downstairs and I do a pour over. And I'm very, very methodical about this. So I buy special coffee beans. I grind them in a grinder. I use a Chemex, which looks like a beaker, and it has these special filters and you have to fold them, and I fold them and I put them in, and then I put the coffee grinds in, and I have a special water pot that has a very skinny little spout. And you literally just stand there and pour the water very slowly over the coffee grinds. And then you just put a little bit because you have to let it bloom. And then it blooms in about 30 seconds. And then you pour more water and you get enough water to the top so that it has pressure on it. And then it starts dripping through. And then while that's, happening, you just got this amazing aroma going on. And then voila, in a few minutes, you have a beautiful cup of coffee.
So do you drop a lot of money on coffee? Like, are you buying like the Bentley of coffee or the Rolls Royce of coffee? What do you do?
I do, but I try a lot of different coffees. Right now, I'm really hot on a coffee called Frankly Good Coffee.
Okay.
And I've tried a lot of their blends and I like the Guatemalan. But yes, I am definitely a coffee connoisseur.
Why Frankly Good? Just curious.
Why?
Like it just tastes amazing, or like
so the couple of reasons. One is I know the person who is roasting that coffee, and I hadn't tried it, and then something came up with another friend, and they're like, "Oh, you got to try this coffee," and so I did. So I just started ordering it because I just loved it. I tried it and I just love the flavor. I love the way it was roasted, the aroma, all of that stuff. But I've tried a lot of different coffees, and
I love that. I love the routine yoga. And then I'm going to make this killer cup of Joe. That's incredible. Okay. So we've got just a few more quickly. So how do you stay motivated?
Oh gosh. I think I'm pretty lucky that I have a sunny disposition. So I am always pretty happy and I feel motivated. But I think what motivates me the most is just getting on the phone with my clients, getting on a Zoom with my clients and hearing what they're doing. And I get so much motivation from helping them. I mean, I think I would do what I do if no one paid me. I mean, I just get a lot of motivation.
You do what you love and you love what you do. So it makes staying motivated and hungry easy is what it sounds like.
Yeah. And I'm just motivated by the projects that I work on and the people that I get to work with. It's at this point in my life, I'm very lucky. I only work with people who I really adore and really want to help them get to their next level.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. And then how do you get unstuck?
That is a really good one because I am a master procrastinator. I have a master's degree in procrastination. And so just like everyone else, I get stuck. There's certain things I never get stuck on. And it's probably because I like them a lot. Being an extrovert, like working with people, meeting with my clients, there's a lot of places I never get stuck. I get stuck when I have to sit quietly and do something like writing my book or, planning for things. Sometimes I'll just put it off because I don't know. And then I'm just stuck. It's like, how do you start? How do you begin? So for me, I have to get an accountability partner. I have to tell someone else, this is what I want to do. I want to do it by this date. Can you help me break it down into pieces and then make sure I start? So ask me on Tuesday, did I do that piece? So for me, accountability partner is what works.
That's so awesome. Great. Find an accountability partner, get them hired. And then lastly, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
I think the best advice I could give my 20-year-old self is get the help you need when you need it. Don't wait. Don't suffer. There's no reason to suffer. There's so many people around you that want to help you. I think when you're young, though, it's hard to know what you don't know. So you're not even sure what questions to ask. But when you're young and you're stuck, or you just don't know, or you want to talk it out, or whatever it is, just ask somebody. There's people around you everywhere who will help you. Even on LinkedIn, you could say, hey, to somebody that, I see that you've already done that. And I just really need to talk out this or get some help on that. Would you be willing to, have 30 minutes with me so I could talk about it? Just ask for help. Look, the worst thing that can happen is to say no. And then you ask someone else. So when you need help, ask for it, get it.
Yeah. That's one of the top sales secrets that I've leveraged a lot since my first company when I was 18. It's like, there are people who have done what you've done before, and right. You just need to find them and pay them or beg them to help you. If right. You're younger in your career, you don't have money, so you just got to beg and or work for free, right? Sweat equity and get their advice or pay them and shit.
Well, I think, Brendan, some people see it as a sign of weakness, or especially in sales, it's like, I'm supposed to know how to do this. Well, guess what? You didn't get a lot of training in sales. No one goes, or very few people go to college to learn sales and study sales the whole time they're in college or any school. There are some schools that teach some sales now, but most people don't have that went into sales. So if you are in sales and you need help, ask for it. Everybody wants to help you succeed. They've hired you so that you will succeed, not so that you will struggle. Sales should not be hard. Ask for help.
I think it's a sign of strength when you ask for help versus a sign of weakness. And people need to, my father always thought it was a sign of weakness to show that you don't know something, show that you need help, show that you're struggling. I don't know why. It was like where he came from and his background. It was just weird. So that's awesome advice. Sales secrets. Sales is not hard. Alice Heiman, where can the audience follow you, connect with you, learn for more?
Well, you can find me all over social media. That's pretty easy. My website's aliceheiman.com. Can't miss it as long as you spell it right, Heiman. And I'd love for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. But the secret is you have to tell me that you saw me here with Brandon.
Let's go. I love it. Alice, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Sales Secrets. Audience, tuning in, listening, watching. If you haven't picked up a copy of the book, over 100 sales experts share their secrets to sales success. It's a few dollars. Pick up the book, change your life. You're just one secret away from the life you want, the family you want, the cars you want, the houses you want, the vacations you want. Everything in this life is just one secret away. Uncover all of the secrets to sales at salessecrets.com. Pick up the book on Amazon. And then you could watch this everywhere where you could watch any piece of content, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, you name it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified on every daily Sales Secrets episode starting today.
Thank you for listening to Sales Secrets with Brandon Bernanson. If you enjoyed the show, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an episode that drops on the daily. Your success is our success.